So first of all, what we will do, we will go back to the play quiz. So we have not added that. So first of all, we will create a new file. We will name that play quiz.dart, and then I will say import material.dart, and then stateful widget of play quiz. Okay, so the first thing is I want to send the user from this screen to this play quiz screen. So how will I send that? So I will simply wrap my container, which is this container of the main container of this widget, this tile, quiz tile, wrap it with a widget which is called gesture detector, and then by using the on tap functionality, we will say navigator dot push. Why am I using push? Because I want to give the user an option to go back if he wants to. So we have a material page root, and in that it takes a builder. As you can see, it's a required property. We will provide it as a context, and then we will say go to play quiz. Nice and good. Okay, so once we have this play quiz, we also want to send some properties. The one of which is this quiz ID, which is very important for us, because without quiz ID we will not be able to enter this, and neither we will be able to go inside the Q&A. So what I will do first of all is go inside this play quiz. And inside this play quiz, what I will do, I will create a new string. This string is going to be a final string, and it is going to be called quiz ID. This is something which we will accept through the constructor, and let's make it required by using directly this, so quiz ID. Okay, so now if we don't use it, it will show us an error. So I'll say quiz ID. Okay, so right now I'm not accepting the quiz ID over here in the tile, so I'll say final string quiz ID, and I will add this over here as well, this dot quiz ID. And just to make sure that, because it's important, right, because this without this quiz ID, if I will send some user to the play quiz, it doesn't make sense, because there will be no quiz for that, right? So that's why it's a required property now. So you can see this is now yellow over here, so we have to provide that. So I'll say quiz ID, and then we can say snapshot dot data dot documents, then index dot data, and then we can provide the key. So the key for the ID is quiz ID. Okay, so quiz ID in camel case. Okay, so now we will be receiving that. Now I will go to the play quiz. Now one thing which I would like to do is, when my screen starts, as I mentioned before, we use this init state. Whenever the screen starts, this is the first thing which will be called. So in this, what I will do, I will print, so that I can confirm that we are getting that value or not. So I'll wrap it in a widget, which is going to be widget.quizid, and it with a semicolon, and then what I will do is just run this. So we will go back to the run, and I'll restart the app. Now if I will click on any of the quiz, for example, I think we have added questions to random quiz, so I can click on random quiz, and this is what I see. So as I can see, this is what I'm getting, 1BG8C77. So 1BG8C77E, 1BG8C7EE. It's confirmed that we are getting the quiz ID over here. So it's blank, or it's black actually, so we have to change that first of all. Second thing, we also want, let me just close this, and we have a lot of videos going on, and let me open up this. Okay, so now what we want, so basically this is how we want our screen to look like, and this is how it looks like right now. Long way to go, right? Okay, so let's get started. The first thing, we want a scaffold, then we want an app bar, right? So for the app bar, we don't have to create it from scratch. We can just go ahead here and just copy this. We don't have a back. Okay, as you can see, it's a bit lighter, but yeah, we do need that app bar. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to first import this. I'm going to click on import library. Then I'm going to go ahead and save this first of all, so that you can see. Okay, so now if you click on any of the quiz, you can see the ID, and you can see the app bar. We also want this back button to be visible, so I can say icon theme icon theme data, colors dot black 54. I think that's the one which I provided in the last one. Okay, looks fine to me. Now what we want this, but we will work on this later on. But first we want to create these quiz list, this section, quiz style. So we will go ahead and create this first. So, well, actually we can do first getting the data, because let me show you the data. So this is the data which we have. Okay, so to get this data, first we will create a function in our database file. So just give me a second. Okay, so how we are going to create that? We are going to just create a function for this. The name of the function is going to be get quiz data, and in that particular function what we want is we will be giving it the ID of the quiz, okay, the quiz ID, and we want the function to return all the different quizzes available, right? So let's do that. So I'm going to say get quiz data, and I'm going to say give it string quiz ID, and then I'll say async, and it's showing an error. So what is that? Okay, it is already defined. So this is get quiz data, we already have defined that. So let me do this. Let's make it get quizzes. I know this doesn't exist, just naming that. It's kind of a plural form of quiz, whatever, just in our language, so okay, so now what I'm going to do, I'm going to go ahead and create or return what we want. So we will return await, because we want to wait until this is done. Then I'll say Firestore dot instance dot collection. So we are going to go inside the quiz. Then once we are inside the quiz, we want to go inside the document ID, which is the quiz ID in this case. So not snapshot, but I'll say dot document, and that is going to be the quiz ID. And then inside of that, we are going to go inside the collection. The name of that collection is Q&A. So let me provide that Q&A. Then what do we want? Then I'm going to get the particular document. So over here, actually, we will be getting all these different documents available in the Q&A, because we will be showing all the questions, right? So how we can do that? I can say collection dot get documents. Okay, so this will get all the different documents which are available over here. Okay, seems fine, it's working. So now what we want is we want to fetch this data in this one, in this play quiz screen. Okay, but before we can do so, we want to make sure that we have some list view or like this style, so that we can show that, right? So let me first create that. So there are two ways to do this. First, you can directly create it in this one, or we can create another one. So basically, just to make sure our code is easy to read and all, we can just go ahead in that widgets which we created, and I can create a new file which is going to be called quiz play widgets. And in this one, we can create that widget which we want, right? The tile, because this tile is going to be little or like quite complex compared to the one which we used in the home. Okay, so now I'm going to import material in this one, because we want to use those things. So then I will say stateful widget. Now you may be thinking, Sanskar, why we are using a stateful widget over here? So the reason why I'm using a stateful widget, because as you may have seen in the demo, when I was clicking on any of the answer, it was checking if it is true or false. So if it was true, then it is showing green, and if it was false, then it converts to a red, right? This particular one. So there is a change happening even after once we have loaded the data. So for that, we will be using a stateful widget. So now let me name this option tile. So rather than actually creating the whole whole tile over here, what we can do actually is we can create this one tile, and then we can create a widget in which we can load, because these all four tiles, as I can see, will be similar, right? So just to modularize our code as much as we can, so that it's very easy to update, because if I'm changing any particular font size of this one, I don't want this font size to be bigger and this one to be smaller. I want to make sure that all of them are in sync, right? And also it helps in modularizing the code, which is helpful for readability of the code as well. So let's create this. So don't focus on whole, actually what you have to focus on is this one. Okay, only one. Okay, so how we can do that? So first we will create a child, and that child is going to be row. Why am I using row? Because I want to arrange two widget, this text and this text, in a horizontal manner. So I'll say row, and then inside that we will have a container. Why am I using container? Because I'll place this text. Let me just show you. I want to place this option text inside the container so that I can provide some properties to my container, which is basically the border radius, and as well as the border color and the width of this one. If you don't understand what I mean, basically this circle, which you can see, a hollow circle, we will be creating that using a container. Okay, now if we talk about this text is going to be custom. As you can see, it's going to be A, B, C, D. So we want to accept that by one way or the other. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to define some variable over here. I'm going to make them final because yeah, they are going to be final. We are going to receive them through the constructor. They are not going to be changed. So the first is option. So what is option? Option is this A, B, C, D. So we can pass whether it is A, we can pass whether it is B, and C and D. Next, what we want the description. What is the description? Description is this VP Singh, this particular answer. Then the next what we have is correct answer, and then we have option selected. Okay, so now I'm also passing this option selected as well as the correct answer over here so that we can check accordingly. So what I can give different condition that if this one is a correct answer, or the correct answer is equals to description, then it will be green. If the correct answer and correct answer and option selected are equal to basically are equal, then we can show it as a green, or if they are not equal, then we can show it as red. If you don't understand what I said over there, then just wait for a second. We will be implementing that right away. So first thing first, let me get rid of that. I'm going to put that inside the text, and we have this widget option now. Okay, so once we have that, let's provide it different properties which we require. So the first property will be, let me go and have a style. So I'll use a text style over here, and in the text style what I will say is color. Okay, so what will be the color for this? Now this is little bit let me show you, like it will be much easier for you to understand then. So if you open any of the quiz, for example, which one was the best? This one. So for this, the answer is I don't know, I think this one. So this is the answer, right? So when we answer it correctly, you can see this gray border converts to green, this white background converts to green, this gray text converts to white. Okay, so we will be giving the same condition over here. This is a stream, guys, actually, which is running. Makes things, yeah. So let me do one thing. This particular color thing, right? So what is happening? So if the option selected, so option selected is this particular one, right? And it is correct answer, then we will be having a green border over here. So border will be provided through this container. So for now, let me just provide my this one as a color of something like black with 24 or 27, something like that. Just a second. We can just go ahead for black 54. Okay, this is just something which we will have, but the main thing, let's work on this border radius first. So right now our app is not visible, so not to worry, but just try to see how this is going to look. This is a row which is going to be a horizontal arrangement of different widget. We have a container of text which we are working on. We are working on this right now. Okay, so we want to create this border which A have, right? So for border we will use a property which is border, and inside the border we will say border dot all. Okay, this will provide the border from all four sides. So as you can see, we can provide color to this, we can provide a width to this, we can provide a style as well. So I'm going to provide the color. Now as you can see, the color depends. So basically if I answer something incorrectly, you can see the color becomes red, and if I answer things correctly, in that case the color becomes green, right? And there is opacity with it as well, because we want the border to be much more kind of in a darker color compared to the background which we have. Okay, I hope things are clear right now. Okay, so let's do that. So how we can do that? So we, in this particular color, we will say widget. Okay, where am I writing? Widget dot option selected. Okay, this one. Okay, so let me just create the constructor as well so that we don't have to see these errors. I'm going to make this named parameters. The reason for that is there are multiple parameters which are to be passed, and we don't want to have any kind of responsibility to arrange them properly how they are. We can give them as we want. Okay, so I was saying that widget dot option selected, the one which we clicked, if that is equals to widget dot correct answer question mark, then the color should be green. Okay, so now I can say colors dot green dot with opacity 0.7. I'm just using a little bit lighter version of that because it's quite dark. We want a little bit lighter version of that. Okay, so now this is 0.7. Okay, makes sense. Now we have that okay, what is the error now? Yeah, so this is if it is equal. Now if it is not equals to this, then we will say colors dot red dot with opacity 0.7. But you may think, wait a second, Sanskar, there will be an option, when we haven't even selected that, or maybe it like it doesn't even equals to the description, right? Because we don't want to make all the green if the particular is green. I think you are getting the point. So basically we want to turn it green only if the option selected and the description of this is equal. So let's check that condition first. So I'll go in front over here and I'll say widget dot description is equals to widget dot option selected, and then I'll question mark that. So if this is correct, then only we will come back to this one to decide if it is going to be green or red. If it's not, then we are just going to provide it a color of gray, and gray with we don't have to provide the opacity for gray. I hope things are clear now. Okay, so we also have to play with the color of this text, because as you can see, it was initially gray. If we answer that true or maybe false, it turns out to be white. So it's not very complex for this condition. It's going to be very simple. We are going to provide it something very similar, like we are going to say widget dot option selected. If option selected is equals to widget dot correct answer correct no, actually we have to first check if it is equals to description, then we can check for the answer and all. So then I can say widget dot correct answer is equals to widget, oh my god, widget dot option selected just give me a second, like there is a lot of complexities happening. Let me make it like that so that it's visible perfectly. So here's what we do. We checked, first of all, we asked that is the option selected is equals to the description. Okay, if it is, then we checked another condition. But what we should do, we should just cut it out like that and say colors dot green dot with opacity 0.7. Okay, so this is what I said. I said if it is equals to the description, then just directly show the green. But this is not what we want, right? We want to check first that if it is correct answer, then show green, or else we will have one more. Things are getting complicated, guys. Not complicated, it's easy to understand, but yeah, it looks a little bit kind of horrifying because a lot of conditions are there in single one, right? So this is what is happening. I first checked if the option selected is equals to the description, so that we can see we want to only change the one which the user interacted with, which has been selected. Now this is a black color which is really dark, but the D, which is the text, and the border seems to be of same color, so we are going to use the same gray color over here. Okay, makes sense, looks good. Now what is next? So we have provided this, so this is just this option is created. Now we want to add the description. So hopefully the description color is not changing, not hopefully, like it's actually knowledgeably we know that the description color is not changing, so we can just directly say widget dot description. Okay, so we have provided the description, but yeah, the description seems to have a little bit of style. But before that, we also want to have some kind of space, which is a horizontal space. So what do we use for horizontal space? We used sized box with a width of let's say around 8. Now this is the text. What is the error in this? Okay, nothing. Now I can say style, and in the style I can say text style, and in the text style we can provide different properties to it, one of which is font size. So I'm going to go for the font size of around 17. I think that will be good enough. And for the color, I think let's go with something similar to this, or have a little bit dark. Let's say we can go for something like black 54. Let's try it out. We will see how it looks like. Okay, so we have some space and things seems to be fine. Okay, right now we cannot be 100% sure, but let's create the full tile now, because we have just created this one. Now we will be creating the full in this particular one. Okay, so let's do that. So just give me a second. Okay, so first what we will do, we will create a stateful widget. So I'll go at the bottom, I'll say stateful widget, and that's going to be called, let's we can name it something like quiz tile, quiz play tile, not tickle, tile. So we can say tile. Okay, so once we have named that, what we actually want in this tile is basically we will have this one, this option tile 4 times with a vertical spacing, and then we will have a text. So that's a vertical arrangement of different elements or widgets. So we will say column, and inside that we can say children, and inside this what we can say, we have a text directly, or we have a simple style in this, right? So we can say text, but we want to accept these things, right? So I'm going to go ahead over here and I'm going to accept the, rather than defining all these different things, what I think will be better option is to just go ahead and create a model which is going to accept all these different properties, being it the question, option 1, option 2, option 3, option 4, and also it's also going to accept 2 more properties, which are going to be the correct answer and option selected. Okay, so we will go over here in the models and we will create a new model, and this model is going to be named what should we name? We can name it directly something like model. Yeah, so we are going to directly name it question model. So question model, and in that we are going to just create a simple class, nothing complicated, simple class, and that's going to be called question model. And in that what we are going to have, we are going to have a string question, we are going to have a string option 1, we are going to have a string option 2, we are going to have a string option 3, 4 it's 3, and then we are going to have a string, it's going to be option 4, and then we are going to have the string, we are going to have correct option, and then we are going to have a boolean which is going to be NSWERED. Okay, now we have all these different properties available. Now what we will do, we will go back to this. Now over here, rather than providing a data type of something like a string and saying question, then saying option 1, option 2, and so on, we can now directly say question model, and now we can say question model. Okay, so we will be directly must be initialized. Okay, we can do that. So it's just asking for the value which will be accepting through the constructor. Okay, what am I doing? What is happening? Quiz QUIZ, quiz play tile, and in this we have this dot question model. It's pretty simple, right? Okay, now what we will do, initially for each and every tile we will also define the option selected. Okay, so we will come over here, not over here, yeah, it's here itself. We will define a string which is going to be called option selected is equals to nothing. So this is what is selected initially, right? Now let's move on and provide these different properties. So I can say question model. Okay, we were for using that we have to say widget dot question model. Okay, then dot question. Okay, so we are able to get that particular question. Now we can give it different styling, but that's not the first purpose of right now. We are just going to have a little bit of spacing vertically, which is going to be a height of, let's say, around 4. I think that will be fine. And then we can move on and provide like use all these different widget option tiles which we have created. So I'm going to say option tile, and inside that, as we were asking for these different properties, let me use one thing. I'm going to go ahead and use the required property and paste it here, paste it here, paste it here. Looks good. Now it will like tell us right off the bat what we want to provide and what we don't have to. So one thing is also there, these are named parameter, right? Then why is it showing an error? So let's see. So it says that the method option tile isn't defined for quiz play tile state. Okay, so as it is not defined, we should first import this. Okay, once we have imported, then it will show us that errors. So we have to provide firstly correct answer. So I'll say correct answer. Okay, correct answer. This is nothing but basically widget dot question model dot option 1. Okay, this is what the correct answer is. Then we want the, what are the different values? Actually, I'm having a bit trouble right now, guys, because for some reason my PC seems to be a little bit slow right now. So I'm going to say description, and that's going to be widget dot question model oh my god, model dot description, and let's make this dot. Okay, so now what we want option selected or option. So we want option, so this option is actually going to be A. Okay, and then what we want is option selected, so I can say option selected, right? So for this I can just transfer option selected. Okay, so seems like things are done, but in this one I have made maybe spelling mistake, I don't know, I'm not able to understand right now. Okay, so description is actually going to be the option 1 itself. Just to clear things up, it may seem why this is option 1, why this is. So description is nothing but the answer itself, right? The option itself. So that is fine. The reason why we used option 1 for the correct answer, because that's what we have when we were creating the question, that the first option is going to be the correct answer. So now let me just have this, and let me get rid of this string. This was just for that time so that I don't have to go back and forth between these. Okay, now I can copy this, paste and paste. So we have 3 times, now 4. So we have A, B. Okay, let me go for B over here, B, and then we will have a C, and then we will have a D over here. Okay, so we have widget. Okay, so the correct answer is not going to be changed. The option selected is not going to be changed. We have already updated the option, but the description is going to be changed. So this is going to be option 2, this is going to be option 3, this is going to be option 4. Okay, seems like okay, but the one thing which let's do one thing first. Let's have it visible, then we will also provide the different on click properties. For now I think this should work fine, but yeah, now let's go ahead and create a list out of this. So let me just go at the top, we are here. So over here we are going to create a list. Just a second. Yeah, so over here in this scaffold we don't have a body right now, so I'm just going to go ahead and say body, and in that body I'm going to have a container. That container is going to have a child which is going to be column. Why column? Because we want to arrange the different widgets vertically. Okay, so in that case what we will do first, is are we accepting the data first? No, we have created that function, so let's use that function and get the data first, right? So what I will do, I will simply say that in the init state, just a second, first to use those function which we have created over here, first we have to create a reference to this database service. So I'll say database service, then I'll say database service. Of course we have to import this. Okay, okay, once that is imported, then we can say database services dot get question data, then I can say widget dot quiz id and that then we have to provide the value, not provide the value, we will be getting this as a return. So then we can create the function which can do something about it. So this value which we are getting, first I think we have named it differently over here. We have named it this get quiz data. Okay, so now we can say get quiz data, and we are basically providing the quiz ID and then we are getting the value. Okay, so now what we want, we will first see, let's see what we are receiving, right? We are receiving documents, right? Fetch document for this query, and it's going to be returning a future of query snapshot. Okay, so we have to create a query snapshot in which we can save this. So I'm going to go back to the play quiz. Just below this database service, I'm going to create a query snapshot, and we need to import this. Okay, it's not required. So now I can say question snapshot. Okay, and now we will require to import this. For some reason, yeah, it's fine. Question snapshot will be going to be equals to value. At the same time, never forget to use the set state or else you'll regret it later. So just cut this, or you can do this as well, like after you have done everything you can call the set state, so it will be same as providing these values inside of set state. But other than this, we also want is we will have these variables of total numbers and all. So let's complete it if we are already working on this. So I can say not attempted. So this is not yet defined variable, so I'm going to go ahead and define these. These are going to be a global variable because these are going to be accessed through different widgets which will be created very separately. So I'm going to define them like a global variable over here. So I will say int. The first one is a total, so we need a total, and initially these are going to be 0. Then I'll say in correct, it's going to be 0. Then I'm going to say int incorrect, and that's going to be 0 as well. Then I'm going to say int not attempted. Attempted is going to be 0 as well. Okay, so we have correct, incorrect, not attempted. Any problem in this? It says not. Okay, it's fine. So now over here at the not attempted, we can also set over here it to be 0 because some reason, like if the user have closed it and something like that, we just want to reset everything whenever the app starts. So that's just why I'm doing that. So correct is equals to 0. Then we can say incorrect equals to 0. Then we can say total. Now the total is not going to be 0. Now we have to set the total to be is equals to question snapshot. I hope you remember how we get the length of it by saying data, not metadata. It's question snapshot. We have documents in it, right? And then we can say the length of the document. Now this is going to be the length of, or basically the total number which we have. Okay, so now let's move on. We have the set state set up. Anything else we are missing? I think we are not. So let's just do one more thing, which is going to be printing it out so that we can know if we are getting the data or not. just for the debugging of it. So I'm going to say total, and then this is total, and then I can also print out the quiz ID. So I can say widget quiz ID. I hope this is exactly what I'm referencing. Quiz ID. We have already done that, so I don't think it's required now. Just the total will be fine, so that we know that is it null or is it like a real value, like 1, 2, 3, 4, how many questions which we have. Okay, so yeah, that's all we need for getting the data. Now it's time to set the data and show it in a list view. So to do so, what we will do, we will basically use a list view, but we also want to make sure some different things, like if the data is null or not. So I'm going to start this with a condition that if it is a question snapshot, which is like this question snapshot. So if our question snapshot dot documents, okay, this is not equals to null, then only I want to show this. So then we will have a container. So if it's not equals to, right, this is the condition. If it is not, then we will say child, and now we can say list view. Just a second, list view. Okay, let's just give it a condition for equal. So if it's equals to null, then we are just going to show a container with nothing in it. If it is not, then we will show a list view dot builder. Okay, and inside this list view, as I mentioned before, we have two important property in this. The first one is going to be the item count, okay, writing in the camel case, and inside that, as we get in the total, we will do it the same. We will say question snapshot dot documents dot length, and then I can say builder. So it is going to be item builder, and in that we have two things. We have context and we have index. Guys, we already have done this before, so I hope it's easy to understand, and hopefully it's getting revised as well, so that you can easily apply things. Okay, now here's something interesting which is going to happen. Let me show you what. So here we returns whatever the basically tile is, right? So for now the tile is quiz play tile. So if I will return this over here, this is not going to accept these values directly, but rather we want a model out of it. So we need to create a function which is going to get the snapshot, and from a snapshot it can convert that to the model. Okay, yeah, it's a little bit getting kind of complex process as well, but also we will do one more thing in that when we are converting the snapshot to model, that we will rearrange these options as well. So let me show you what I mean. So I'm going to create a function which is going to be called get question model from data snapshot, and then it's going to have these curly braces. Also it's going to have these argument, and but before that we also have to define the return type of this, which is going to be the question model. And we are going to accept a snapshot, which is going to be a document snapshot, not the documents. A query snapshot is different thing. A document snapshot is a document out of those different documents which we are receiving. I hope things are clear over here. So when we can say question snapshot, so this is what we have, okay, not this. Okay, now what we want to create a new question model. We will say question model equals to new question model. Okay, and just done that. Now let's shuffle. So before shuffling, let me show you what I mean. So now basically what we can do, we can say question, okay, model dot question is going to be equals to question snapshot, which is a document snapshot, not question model, question snapshot, okay, question snapshot, good, dot data, and then we just are going to provide the key for it. Key is quiz I question actually. Okay, so now what we are doing is basically in this question snapshot.data, we can get a particular question by its key, as we have done before as well in our home, right? But in this case it's a little bit complicated. I do understand if you are facing any kind of problem. It's totally understandable. Not everything can become in the just first understanding. It may take a little bit time, but yeah, it's not too complicated thing. Okay, so this is how we are going to we can just define the options as well. But what I want to do is, first I want to save all the 4 options in a list of string, and then we will shuffle that list and then assign those strings or the options to our question model again. So let me show you what I mean by that. So I'm going to say list, and this is a list of string, and the name of this is going to be, let's say, options. Okay, now this is going to be equals to question snapshot dot data, and then that's going to be option 1. Hopefully things are clear. Let me just give a little bit break so that you can see. Okay, so whenever we are defining a list, we close them with these square brackets. Okay, so I'm closing them and saying that, you know what, I'm going to provide a list of different like different variables of data type string, and it's going to be a list, and that list is options. So now I can just copy paste this 4 times, and I can say option 1, option 2, option 3, and option 4. So what is this doing? This is basically getting all these different options like we were getting before by their key. So as you can see, just a second, yeah. So as you can see, we have these keys and these are the values. So these values are being stored and as a list of a string, and this is a list of a string which is called options. Now what I will do in my question model dot option 1, I may have done this like directly question snapshot dot data dot option 1, but in that case every single time the correct answer will be the first one. We don't want that. We want the options to be shuffling, right? So let's do that as well. So I'm going to say options dot shuffle. What this does, this basically rearranges the arrangement. So this is no more at the first place. Not kind of for sure, but in some cases it can, but they will be shuffled, right? So now what I can do, I can say question model. Let me just do Control Z. What happened? Okay, now I can say options, which is a list of string 0. So whatever in the first place, I'm getting that and saving that to the option 1, option 2, option 3, option 4. So this is going to be option 2, option 3, and option 4, and this is going to be 1, 2, 3. Correct? Next, we also want to provide, now in the question model, we have a correct option as well. That correct option would be what? Like, think about it. Will it be option 2, 3, 4 question? What is it? It's going to be option 1, right? It's pretty understandable, because that's what we did when we were creating the quiz. We asked the user to submit the first option as the correct answer. Then we can say question model dot answer. Now this is, what is this? So let me show you. So answered is basically, is this question answered or not? Because what I want is, once the question is answered, I don't want the user to be able to, you know, click on another option. For example, I answered this incorrectly, and then what user says, okay, this is not the correct option. Let me try silver. Let me click on silver. We don't want the user to have that option, right? We want that if he selected once, that's all, that ends there. That's the only chance you got, right? So that's why I'm saving answered. So initially answered will be false, but once user selected any text or any option over here, then it will be turned true. I think things are clear now. So now we can actually provide this. So let me copy the name. So name is get question. It's showing that function has a return type, but it's not written. Okay, we forgot to do the main thing, which is going to be return question model. Done. Okay, now it's doing perfectly what we want. What is the data snapshot? I think it's named perfectly, and there is not big of a problem. Okay, so now this quiz play tile, let me go back to this and make this. So this is question model. So if we only have one thing to provide, you don't have to use that. You can just directly remove those named parameters and you can directly provide that value. So I can now say question, not question, snapshot. I can say, what can I say? I can say, what is the name of this function actually? Get question model from data snapshot. So I can say get question model from data snapshot, and now I can pass in the snapshot. Close that. So we have this question snapshot, and we want the particular index of it, right? So I'm going to say query snapshot. It's getting a little bit too much, but anyways, we cannot do anything for that. Documents, documents, yeah, and then we are going to provide the index to it. Showing an error. Let's see what's the problem. So if I copy paste this again, okay, so yeah, the name was incorrect. So now I think it's fine. So question snapshot or documents then index. Okay, one thing more, we are also going to provide the index for each and every tile. Later on I'll tell you what is the use for this. So basically what we will do, we will also provide the index. So we will get back over here and we will say final int index, and then I can say this dot index. Since we are using two variables now, we can actually make them named parameters. So these are going to be question model and index. I'm going to copy this question model and paste it here, use this, and then I'm going to say index, and that's just going to be the index, so it's not a big deal, right? Okay, so things are now very clear and very easy to understand. Hopefully now the quiz should be visible, not this like this, but yeah, somewhat close, little bit. So I'm going to go ahead in the run and restart the app again. Okay, this is, I think, what is taking my whole space. Let me go back, guys. I'm not able to understand why is it running again. Okay, that app is taking, that Steam is a lot consumption of memory. Okay, anyways, we'll think about that. So when I will click on this, it shows an error that the method quiz data was called on null. Okay, this probably happens if I have, yeah. So this database service should be set new database service. Then restart the app again, and then if you will click on this random quiz, has some data, right? Something random quiz, right? So if I click on this random quiz, it says there was an error for a second, okay, when the data was not there, and once this set state was called, this one, we get something. But let's see what is the error. So it says tried calling document. So yeah, this was the error. Once the data was not loaded, once it is loaded, then it should show this is total and things like that. So right now it is saying that getter visible was called on null. Okay, so this kind of error happens when if we go back to the list. What is the list? Where is the list? This one. So we are using it inside of a column, so we need to make sure we are using shrink wrap to true. And just for this good score, we are going to use a physics, which is going to be clamping scroll physics. No need to understand, just that's majorly what I use. Sometimes if we have a special requirements, then we are used something different. Okay. Oh my god, look at this. We have question, we have options. What do we want more? But definitely it doesn't look like how we want that to look like, right? So let me see. So this is what we want, this is what we have. Still long way, still a little bit long way to go, but we will be there, don't worry. Okay, so the first thing is excuse me. So the first thing is we want to work on this one a little bit, have some little bit border radius, but we will work on that. First, what I would like to work on is to have this clicks on this option tile. Right now we don't we will not be able to do anything even if we click on these. So if I click on dog, nothing is happening. If I click on cat, nothing is happening. So we need to assign these by using, you guessed it, gesture detector. So let's go back to the option A, and I'm going to click on this, wrap it with a widget which is going to be called gesture detector. We will use a property of on tap. In that I'm going to say Okay, so let's just wait for a second and think what we want. So the first thing which we want to make sure, as I said before, we want to make sure that it's not answered already. Let me repeat what I said. We want to make sure that it's not answered already. How can we make sure that? By saying if widget dot question model dot answer. Remember we were saving that to be false initially. Yeah, we want this to be not answered, so that should be false. Then only we are going to perform this certain thing which we are going to perform. Okay, so now if it is not selected, then we have to check if it is correct. So let's write the condition for correct. So we are going to say if selected. Okay, so let me do it this way. Actually, what we want, so basically what we want to do right now is we will have the description whatever it is clicked. So the description right now is this one. Okay, so we will check if this is equals to widget dot question model dot correct option. Is it clear? I hope things are understandable, right? Basically whatever the description is written, is this the correct answer? If it is, then it's correct. If it's not, then else condition will be for the incorrect option. Okay, so let's say this is the correct condition, we have given the right answer. Then what do we want to do? So we first want to say option selected should be equals to widget dot question model dot option 1, the same which is selected. Not, it's not the correct answer which we are selecting, we are selecting the one which is the description of ours, the one in on the one which we clicked on this option tile, and in this one we have this option 1 as the description. That's why we are assigning that to the option selected. Okay, now what I will do, I will say widget dot question model dot answered is going to be true. Okay, why I did that? I don't want the user to be able to select the or answer the question again. Next, we are also going to increase the correct is equals to correct, not like that, correct plus 1, and we are going to say incorrect, not incorrect actually, not attempted is going to be equals to not attempted, not attempted not attempted minus 1. Okay. So we have correct, we have not attempted. Now what do we want? We have had enough. Now let's just set state. What am I doing again? Well, I'm just setting the state so that my widget reloads itself. You got it right? You don't? So yeah, so this is for the correct option. Let's say if this is not the condition, we are going to, then what we are going to say, we are going to say the same thing. We are going to assign the same, like these two lines are going to be the same. Oh my god, let me copy this. Yeah, so these two lines are going to be the same because we want to make sure this option selected is the same. We want to pass this to this one where it can check if the option selected is equals to that, so that it can show green, red, whatever it is going to show. We are also going to set the answer to be true. We don't want the user to answer that again, but this is where the difference is going to be. We are going to say incorrect minus, actually plus 1, right? Yeah, incorrect plus 1, and not attempted will be the same, and set state. Okay, so yeah, I think it's done. Let me just restructure, reformat, and yeah, that's all what we have to do. So now let's be a little quick and apply this to all the different tiles available. So we will go back to the B tile, option B tile, 10 gesture detector on tap, good to go. Next we have option tile C, widget gesture detector on tap. Yeah, I know we have to update some things, just give me a second. Gesture detector. Okay, Okay. So now let's copy this option 4. This is going to be the option selected over here, and we are going to compare it with this, and nothing. Yeah, okay. Yeah, correct answer will be the same, and anything which we need to update, I think no. So I'm going to copy option 3. So we're going to check this one is equals to the correct option. We are going to be setting the selected to be this one. Makes sense. Set this, set that, set that. Okay, so things are pretty close to what we want. If I restart this, and A4 is apple, oh my god, it says it is wrong. If I click on that, it says it is wrong. Okay, so can I answer it again? No, now you can see we are not able to click again, right? Once we are answered, they are answered. Okay, so now let's get back to this and see what is up. So here's what is happening. If widget.option selected is equals to widget.correct answer, then it is showing green color, or it shows the red color. I cannot see that because I think A4 is apple. Let's see what is the correct answer for this. So where are you? These are that. A for apple, B for ball, A for apple. Okay, so whenever you have any kind of problems like this, what I do is I am just going to go and print stuff and see what is happening actually behind the scenes. So I'm going to just go ahead over here, and I'm going to say print. So what do we are facing problem with? So I'm not able to understand what is the correct answer according to this. So I'm going to say widget dot correct answer, not correct answer, question model dot correct option. Okay, then I'm also going to, I think that's fine. Okay, let's go to run and restart this again. Actually, hot restart, and just give it a second or so. We will click on this. It was error for a second. We will fix that, don't worry. So A4 is apple. Okay, so it shows that green now. B4 is ball. It shows that green. So now let me go back and open this again. It shows that error for a second. If I select wrong answer, B for elephant, it shows wrong. So it's working perfectly fine now, guys. Now for the setting up that error which is happening, when initially it's getting that error, how can we fix that? Well, it is happening because, let me see what it says. So it says it is happening over here in the play quiz. Over here. Okay, so it says that it is happening over here. We are kind of using this documents while it doesn't have any kind of data. So what we can do is, it says that it is null, right? Yeah, it says that it was documents was null. So we can say, we can check for this. So if I'll reload this again, open up random quiz, now you can see like it was not a problem initially. So now let me, rather than like just having a container which is like a blank screen, let's just show a loading screen so that it's much more better user experience. So I'm going to say child, which is going to be center, and it's going to be child, which is going to be circular progress indicator. Okay, so now we have this. We want to convert this to this, so let's do this. So we will go to the quiz play widget, and before starting, do we have anything else to do? No, I think that's fine. So yeah, so let's go back, and first thing first, we want this A for apple to be this side, not in the center. So how can we do that? So for that, we have to go into the play quiz, and over here we have all these different elements aligned inside a column. So column have a property which is called cross axis alignment. Inside, if I say cross axis alignment dot start, it's going to align all the widgets cross axis. So this is the horizontal is the cross axis for the column. So in the cross axis axis I am saying to align these widgets from start. So if I will save this, okay, it's not working. Let me just click on this. Okay, so we have exactly what we want. I think the height which I have provided is pretty small than what we should have. So let's go with something more, something like 12. And between these different tiles we can have 4. I think that should be fine, but between the questions, so we should have a little bit more than that, right? Also at the end of this, let's give it something like a size box of 20, so that we can have some space between two different questions. So after this I'm going to say sized box. Okay, we are inside the gesture detector. I'm going to say sized box, and it's going to have a vertical space, so I'm going to give it a height. I'm going to say that 20. Save. Okay, now it looks perfectly fine. We want some padding, so we can just go over here and we can say that padding here, padding. Yeah, so this is an interesting thing that we can provide padding to the list view directly. So I can say horizontal 24. Why is it not saving? This I don't like this personally. Like sometimes it's okay, just command save and it's gonna save it and reload it again. But anyways, keeping that those things aside, we want to still convert this like this to this. So it's a long way to go, guys. Let's go back to this. And where is my title again? First, let's work on this. So we have this border which is ending over here. We want to provide some border radius. I'm going to say border radius circular, provide it as much as you can. So I'm just going to go for 30, and that's going to convert that to a circle. So we have to provide a bit of width and height. So I'm going to just say 40, height of around 40. Too much. 3. It's too much, right? Is it okay? Yeah. We also can provide, rather than color, we can also provide width as well in this. So if I'll say 2, okay, we can say 1.5. Looks good. We also want the text to be in the center, right? So I can say alignment dot center. Let me restart that. Not restart, actually, just save. Now it looks small to me. What is happening? It happens, right? Like we're just playing with numbers. Okay, widget, and let me go for something like 4. Any difference? I can't see it. So now if we will click on this, we got that loading thing. We have these. So 2, this is total. Okay, so now these looks there is not enough space between them as well, right? Compared to this one, there is a lot of space in that. So I think we can actually provide a padding little bit. What can we do? Like there are different options which you can go for. Like we can go for a padding, which we can go for margin as well. So let's see, let's just go ahead with using a padding. So I'm going to go ahead in this container. I'm going to add a padding, add insets dot symmetric. So vertically we don't want a lot, but around 10 should be fine, and horizontally we want around 20. That's too much, right? We don't want horizontally, actually. We have already provided that to the list view. Okay, so I think it looks fine, but still the description size is too much. I don't think we require this much. Now seems too small. I personally feel you guys can also work on this. Like we don't should spend that much time, but I'm just going to work a little bit more on this, and then we are going to fix that. So then we are just going to work on this, and then the result screen. So where is the question? This is a quiz play tile, right? Yeah, we don't even have a styling for this, man. How can I expect anything from this? Font size, let's go for 18. Font color, not like that. Colors dot black, not like that, not like that. Black 87 should work. Okay, we also want to do one more thing. I'm going to cut this out, create a like that, and I can say question. This is how I was mentioning, and dollar index plus 1. Actually, it's going to be widget dot index dot 1 plus 1, and then the question. Not like that, like that. Now if I will save this, okay, it looks much like that. Also, I think we can go for 17 font size. It looks a little bit more than required for now, and also this should be a little bit smaller, like around 6. Okay, so and it looks why. Okay, so let me now check it out. So this is B for ball, and this is A for apple. So I think one thing which is happening is it's getting rearranged. So if I open it for the first time and then I click B for ball and A for apple, okay, so it says it's ball, seems to be in space over there, right? And for apple it was not clear as well. So let me see. So for some reason we are not passing the correct value over here, the options, the correct option, right? So the correct option is the option 1, and as per our instruction how we are arranging them, we are setting that question model option 1 is going to be the 0. We have 1 2 3 4, so we are getting all of those and we are shuffling them, saving them, then we have answered. Seems like everything is fine over there, but if we go for this, we have correct. Okay, so we have correct and we have incorrect options. Option selected is equals to widget dot question model dot option 1. So we are basically checking if the option 1 is equals to the correct option, and similarly in the option 2 we are checking if the option 2 is equals to the correct option. Widget dot question model dot correct option is equals to the option 2. This is the correct option. I printed out the correct option. I printed out it with a space, so that's why there was a space. And if we talk about the problem which we are having, why is it showing it to be red when if I reload this it turns out to be green for this. If I save this again, why is it changing? I'm not able to understand. Like the rearrange is understandable for me since it's like regenerating, then what is happening that we are like calling this again, things like that. But the thing which I'm not able to understand, that why is the correct answer changing? Okay, so the thing which we are doing wrong is basically when I'm sending the correct option, I'm always sending the option 1, but it has been set it accordingly, so we will be using the correct option over here, and you can copy that, paste it here, paste and paste. So what was happening is we were sending always the first over there, that's why. So now you can see B4 is ball. Even if I kind of reload it again and again as many times as I want, that doesn't change. It's like all of these options are shuffling, but that doesn't mean the correct answer is changing. So yeah, this is working perfectly fine. Now we have just one thing to do. We are just going to go ahead in the views. We are going to create a dart file which is going to be results, and import material.dart, and inside that I'm going to say stateful widget which is going to be called results, and let me make it a scaffold, and in that scaffold we are just going to have a body. We don't want to make it very sexy kind of. Nothing of that nature. We're just making it very simple and sweet, not sweet, whatever. So in this particular screen, we want to accept two things. We are going to say final in. This is going to be correct answer. So let's say correct answer, and that's going to be, let's just accept correct, incorrect, total. Anything else? I don't think so. So we are going to accept this through the constructor. So I'm going to define that, and it's going to be this dot correct, this dot incorrect, and this dot total. Let's make sure the spelling is correct. While it is incorrect, but the spelling should be correct, right? I think we are not doing that. Okay, let me copy that, paste that. Okay, so in this text, what we are going to do, actually, you know what I have had in that was a column, I think, and that column I have two texts. One was the top text, and one we have a little bit space, size box around, let's say size like vertical space of 8, and then we will have another text which is going to say U ANSW. We already answered. Widget dot correct. So this can be like 5 2 3 4 5 6 something like that. This much answers correctly, and then we will load widget dot incorrect. Then we can say ANSWR answers incorrectly. And this is getting too long, so let me just have it like that. Okay, so what can we do? Okay, over here we also want to do one thing. In this one we will basically show this. So I'll have widget dot correct, then I'll have slash widget dot total. Now we want to accept these values, or this is going, otherwise this is going to be very blank. We have nothing to show. So I am going to make them required, and what will happen is there is going to be a floating action button in here. So where do we want to place that? We can place that just below the body. There is the body, and there is the floating action button. And inside of that we can use two things. We have on pressed. So inside the on pressed, you can say navigator dot push replacement. Now coming back, there is material page root, builder, context, and then we are going to go to results. Anything else? We want semicolon. Okay, and the floating action needs to have a child. You know, it's not going to be blank circle. So we are going to give it icon of submit, which is going to be a check, and result. Okay, this is asking, you know, that's why it's saying that thing. So I can say correct, and then I can say incorrect. It's incorrect, I know, just so then I can say total. I think it's defined directly, so this is what we have. So if I reload this, we will be able to see a floating action button, and yeah, if I click on this, so we have to first have it in the center. Even we don't even have the space safe area. So let me just say height. No, I said height. So we are going to say height media query dot of context dot size dot height. Okay, now if I'll reload that, it should be in the center, but it's not. So what can be the, okay, the column is the reason. So I'm going to say main axis alignment dot center, and that's going to do it for us. So now if I will save that, you can see we have it in the center. We want some things very big, very simple. For example, this styling, we want to, you know, kind of increase the font size. So I'm going to say around 17 should be fine. And no, it's not fine. 25 should be fine. And for this bottom text, I'm going to just say text to style, text to style, text to style, text to style. Oh my god, why are you not going up? So you can say text to style, and then inside of that we can have font size can be 15, and then we can provide it a color start gray, not hooray, it's going to be gray, and that's fine. Okay, let me just make it colors, and let's just read it. One thing is very important, we have to give it text align property, so that, you know, it's not going that side. So I can say text align dot center, so that, you know, by this it will be aligned in the center. Now it looks good, right? We just want one more thing, which is going to be our very easy, guess what, our blue button. You forgot it. It was the best, you know, our blue button. We can just provide the context, we can provide the label, go to home, and we will click on this. We will wrap it in a widget which is going to be called gesture detector, and then we will have an on tap property on this, and in that we are just going to say navigator dot pop, and that should work. So if I will save this now, it's pretty huge, we don't want that big, right? So we have a good option for that. We have a bit, not inside that, okay, we have a bit button width as well, which we use. So I can say of context dot size /2. I think that should be fine. Size, okay, sorry, we don't want to provide a size, we want to provide height or width. So I'm going to say width, half of the width. Looks good. So if I click on this, we are back to the home. So finally we have completed. To make sure to hit that cute little subscribe button, and there is a bell which you should ring, and God will listen all your prayers. And yeah, see you in the next video. Hope you got get enough value. If you did, make sure to click that like button, and I'll see you in the next one.